Who can stop Manon Fiorot? I mean, seriously, is there a caped superhero lurking in the MMA world who can halt this French juggernaut? It's a question that's been echoing around the MMA universe ever since Fiorot's latest victory. Her performance against Erin Blanchfield in the main event of UFC Fight Night in Atlantic City was nothing short of a masterclass. The bout was a showcase of Fiorot's superior striking and physicality, leaving Blanchfield and the spectators simply in awe. Picture a juggernaut tearing through the highways, unstoppable, unyielding. Now, replace that image with Fiorot's face, and you've got a pretty accurate representation of her current standing in the UFC. She's like a steamroller in a field of daisies, crushing her opponents with an air of inevitability that's almost frightening. Her record stands at an impressive 7 wins with no losses. It's the kind of record that makes you wonder if she's actually a human or some sort of MMA cyborg sent from the future to conquer the flyweight division. And now, the stakes are even higher. With her victory over Blanchfield, Fiorot is poised to face the winner of the championship trilogy match between Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko. Now that's a fight that promises to be as explosive as a firework factory on Guy Fawkes' night. But let's not forget, every superhero has their nemesis, every formidable force its weakness. So the question remains, who or what could be Fiorot's kryptonite? Is there a contender out there capable of halting this French juggernaut's path of destruction? Now, if someone can just find Fiorot's kryptonite, we may have a competitive flyweight division once again. Speaking of superhumans, let's not forget our undercard surprise, Carlos Ulberg. He's been on such a roll, it seems like he's been eating 4-leaf clovers for breakfast. Now, if you're not familiar with this lucky charm of ours, let me fill you in. Originally, it was Dominic Reyes who was slated to step into the Octagon against Ulberg. However, in a surprising twist of events, Reyes dropped out for undisclosed reasons. Enter Alonzo Menefield, ready to fill those size 12 shoes. Now, here's the kicker. Both Ulberg and Menefield have been on a winning streak. Ulberg with 5 consecutive wins. Menefield matching that stride for stride. It's like watching 2 runaway trains on the same track, and we're all just waiting for the fireworks. It's quite a pickle, isn't it? But then again, that's the beauty of this sport. You never know who's going to step up and become the next big thing, and if you ask me, I'd wager a pint that Ulberg's secret isn't a rabbit's foot or a horseshoe. It's probably a stash of 4-leaf clovers. But let's not count out Menefield just yet. After all, this is MMA, where a single punch can turn the tide in an instant, so who knows, perhaps Menefield has found a few lucky charms of his own. So here's a toast to Ulberg. May your 4-leaf clover never run out. Now, if we gaze into our MMA crystal ball, what do we see for the future of UFC? It's a battlefield of strategy, much like a high-stakes chess game. Only in this game, the kings, queens, and pawns are replaced with muscle-bound warriors with fists of steel. It's a fascinating spectacle indeed. The UFC's matchmaking approach has been nothing short of genius. They've been lining up contenders, one after another, creating a dynamic, ever-changing landscape of potential face-offs. It's like watching a master chess player planning several moves ahead, only these moves involve flying knees and rear naked chokes. Take, for instance, the rise of Manon Fiorot. After her dominant performance against Erin Blanchfield, she's poised to challenge the winner of the championship trilogy between Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko. Now that's what I call strategic positioning. And let's not forget about the heavyweight division. Cyril Gane, after his impressive TKO victory, has been catapulted to the top of the rankings. He's now within striking distance of the title, and I don't just mean that metaphorically. Meanwhile, in the light heavyweight division, we have Carlos Ulberg and Alonzo Menefield, both on impressive winning streaks, set to clash. That's promising to be quite the showdown. You see, the UFC is like a grandmaster chess player, manipulating the board, setting up pieces for the perfect checkmate. Only here, the checkmate might come in the form of a right hook or a guillotine choke. As we close the chapter on another thrilling UFC event, remember, in the UFC, you're always one punch away from a checkmate.